There is a plant that kept 80 million people alive during one of the deadliest famines in human history. It grows faster than corn. It survives drought that kills wheat. It produces more protein per acre than soybeans. It contains all 9 essential amino acids, making it one of the only complete protein sources in the entire plant kingdom. For 8,000 years, this plant fed empires. The Aztecs built their civilization on it. The Incas stored it in mountain vaults as insurance against disaster. When the rains failed and the corn died, this plant kept entire populations from starvation. Then the conquistadors arrived, and they did not just conquer a people, they erased their food. Today, the United States Department of Agriculture classifies this plant as a noxious weed. American farmers receive government subsidies to spray it with herbicides. Tax dollars pay for its destruction. This is amaranth. Amaranthus, the grain that empires tried to erase and failed. Welcome to Recession Roots. Before we dig deeper, if uncovering what governments pay to destroy matters to you, subscribe and hit the bell. Every video preserves what they spend your taxes trying to erase. The story begins approximately 8,000 years ago in the highlands of Central America. Archaeological excavations at Tehuacan in Mexico uncovered amaranth seeds dating to 4000 BCE. These were not wild seeds. They were stored deliberately in ceramic vessels alongside corn and squash. Amaranth was one of the sacred trinity that made Mesoamerican civilization possible. By the 15th century, the Aztec Empire cultivated over 15,000 acres annually. Farmers paid taxes in amaranth. Priests mixed it with honey and shaped it into figures of their gods. Warriors ate it before battle, believing it gave them supernatural strength. When Hernán Cortés landed in 1519, he encountered a civilization larger than anything in Spain. Tenochtitlan held 200,000 people, fed by a grain Europe had never seen. The conquistadors recognized the threat immediately. Aztec ceremonies involved consuming amaranth figures as communion. To Spanish Catholic eyes, this was a demonic parody of the Eucharist. In 1521, Cortés issued a decree. Amaranth cultivation became punishable by death. Soldiers burned fields across Mexico. They cut off the hands of farmers caught growing it. They executed priests who used it in ceremonies. Within 50 years, a crop that had fed tens of millions for 8,000 years nearly vanished. But amaranth refused to die. In remote mountain villages, indigenous farmers hid seeds. They planted in secret ravines. They passed seeds to their children with whispered instructions. They kept the knowledge alive through 4 centuries of colonial rule. Then came the famines, and amaranth proved what it was made for. During the Bengal famine of 1943, 2 to 3 million people died while British colonial forces exported grain. In regions where villagers remembered wild amaranth, survival rates were higher. It grew in ditches, along roads, in soil too poor for rice. During the Great Chinese Famine of 1959 to 1961, an estimated 15 to 55 million people died. The deadliest famine in recorded history. Peasants who remembered traditional food sources survived at higher rates. Amaranth was among the plants that kept families alive when collectivized agriculture collapsed. The plant that conquistadors tried to erase kept saving lives 500 years later. In 1977, the United Nations called amaranth one of the most promising food crops in the world. They recommended global cultivation programs. Instead, the opposite happened. Researchers at the University of Nebraska confirmed what indigenous peoples knew. 100 grams of amaranth contains 13 to 14 grams of protein, more than wheat, more than rice, more than corn. And unlike those grains, amaranth contains lysine, the amino acid TGA missing from nearly every other grain on Earth. The calcium content reaches 159 milligrams per 100 grams. The iron content reaches 7.6 milligrams, 3 times higher than wheat. In 2004, researchers found amaranth subsidies lowered cholesterol more effectively than oat bran. But here is where amaranth becomes biologically impossible. Dr. David Brenner at Iowa State University studied amaranthus genetics for decades. The plant uses C4 photosynthesis, the same efficient system found in corn. But unlike corn, amaranth requires a fraction of the water. A single plant produces up to 200,000 seeds. Each seed remains viable for decades. The plant completes its life cycle in 90 days. It survives drought that kills corn. It thrives in soil so poor that commercial crops refuse to germinate. Dr. Brenner called it one of the most efficient food-producing plants ever studied. Instead of promoting it, American farmers receive payments to poison it. The USDA classifies Palmer amaranth as a noxious weed. Extension offices publish eradication guides. In 2016, American farmers spent over $400 million on herbicides specifically targeting amaranth species. The economics are simple. You cannot patent amaranth. It has been cultivated for 8,000 years. You cannot sell proprietary varieties because wild populations contaminate controlled genetic lines. You cannot force annual seed purchases when every plant produces 200,000 seeds that remain viable for decades. So they classified it as a weed. They subsidized its destruction. They taught farmers to see survival as an enemy. The herbicide industry generates over $40 billion annually. The seed industry generates over $60 billion. These industries require crops that create dependency. Amaranth threatens that entire model. When the next recession hits, amaranth will still be there. When drought intensifies, amaranth will still produce food with half the water corn requires. When food prices spike beyond what families can afford, amaranth will still grow in any disturbed soil where herbicides have not reached. Learn to identify it. The leaves are diamond-shaped, often with a notch at the tip. The stems are frequently red or purple striped. The flower heads are dense spikes reaching 2 feet in length, ranging from green to deep magenta. The seeds are tiny but produced in impossible quantities. Harvest the leaves while young and cook them like spinach. Harvest the grain when seed heads dry in late fall. Pop the seeds like tiny popcorn for a snack. The Aztecs called alegria. It means joy. The conquistadors burned the fields. They cut off hands. They killed priests. They spent 50 years trying to erase 8,000 years of cultivation. They failed. The seeds survived in mountain villages. The knowledge survived in whispered instructions. 500 years later, your government still pays to destroy it. The war the conquistadors started has never ended. It just changed sponsors. But amaranth does not care about sponsors. It does not care about subsidies or noxious weed classifications. It just grows. It just produces 200,000 seeds per plant. It just waits in the soil for someone to remember what 80 million famine survivors discovered. Every person who grows amaranth breaks 500 years of suppression. Every garden where it thrives is resistance against a system that profits from dependency. Every meal connects you to 8,000 years of survival and to the farmers who hid seeds while soldiers burned their fields. We did not lose amaranth. It was taken, with swords and fire, and then with subsidies and herbicides, but the seeds remained. They always remain. If this route revealed something for you, subscribe to Recession Roots and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they have spent 500 years trying to erase. The next route breaks ground soon.